So the first problem that we will look at, in the first problem, you are given a mountain array and you have to find the peak element in it. So we will see what we mean by a mountain array and what is the peak element in a mountain array. So a mountain array is an array which starts by increasing values. So you might have values like 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 19. So the numbers are increasing as you go from left to right. Beyond a certain point, it will start decreasing. So 22, beyond, let's say 22, it starts decreasing. 18, let's say 15, let's say 9, let's say 1. So this is a mountain array. If you try to, why is it called a mountain array? If you try to visualize this, you will see that the pattern is that till 22, it is increasing. So it is something like this. And then beyond 22, it starts decreasing. So it is something like this. So that's why it is called a mountain array. And you have to find out the peak element in this mountain array, which here in this example, you have to find out 22. And that's the question. You are given a mountain array, which is nothing but a sequence wherein the elements are increasing first, then beyond a certain point, they start decreasing and they keep on decreasing. So that's basically the array that you're given. You have to find out the peak element in this particular type of array. A couple of clarifications. This array, whatever array you will be given, the size of that array will be greater equals 3, because you need at least 3 elements to define a mountain, right? You need at least 3 elements. And the other part is you are given that the peak always exists. So these will not really come in the way of you solving the problem. So you will not have a scenario like this wherein the elements are only like just 2 sized elements, let's say this or this. So these will not be there. You will have at least 3 elements in the mountain array and the peak always exists. Let's try to think about this problem and how we can go about solving this. Let's try to see the mountain. So imagine this is the array that you are given, and you are interested in finding this element. So what does that tell you? You want the predicate in such a way that at this point you get the last f or the first t, right? Because those are the only 2 elements that you can find in this using binary search. So you want the peak to either be the last f or the first t, one of those 2. You have no other choice for the peak. What does this tell you logically? This logically tells you that roughly you want a predicate which is false for this half of the array and it is true for this half of the array. That's roughly what you want the nature of the predicate to be. So assuming you keep the same ordering of the search space, can you define some function or some predicate which is false for the increasing half of the array and true for the decreasing half of the array? What is the property that separates the first half from the second half? The first half is increasing, right? And the second half is decreasing. So can you use that property as a predicate? So if your predicate is some property of a decreasing function, then it will definitely be false for this part, right? And it will be true for this part. So can you come up with some predicate which will be a characteristic which is true only for decreasing functions and false for increasing functions? What kind of predicate can you think of? So can you say that if I'm at index I my predicate could be that is array of I greater than array of I plus 1. If this is your predicate, you can easily see that this will only hold for decreasing functions, right? That the previous element is greater than the next element. The previous element will be less than the next element for the increasing part. So if you use a predicate of this type, then you can roughly see that it will evaluate to false for the first half and true for the next half. So that's basically the thought process behind it. When you want to devise a predicate, keep the same ordering, devise a predicate of this type. What is the third part? The third part is what are you interested in? Are you interested in the last step or are you interested in the first T? So what do you think? What is it? So for this, you can just evaluate the predicate at the peak. This predicate. So what is it? At the peak, you can see that if I is equal to the peak, then AR of I is definitely greater than AR of I plus 1, right? If this is the peak, for this you know that AR of I will be greater than AR of I plus 1, right? So you know that this will be T also if I use this predicate. So this is how my predicate looks like. From the peak all the way till the end, you get T's, and before the peak you get F's. So I am interested in the first T of this. So let's try to code this now with all that in mind. Very simple. Initialize the windows. Low is 0, high is n minus 1. You will keep going as long as you have more than one element. So as long as low is less than high, you will keep going. You know, you will compute the mid, but we'll come back to that again. Before that, we will do the decision. So evaluate the predicate at the mid, which means the predicate is AR of I greater or equals AR of I plus 1. So is AR of mid greater than AR of mid plus 1? Right? If it is greater than AR of mid plus 1, you are in the true part. You are looking for the first T. That basically means you can safely discard everything to the right of this, but you cannot discard this element because this might as well be the first T. So you can discard everything to the right of it. So update your high to be the mid. On the other hand, if it's false, which means you are at an F, you can discard everything to the left of this, including this. So your low will become mid plus 1. So this is the while loop. Now the choice of mid, you have two blocks. Which block is progressing always? Block B2 is always progressing, right? So use the lower mid. So mid will be low plus high minus low by 2. And finally the sanity check. So do you need a sanity check first? If it's given in the question, if you remember that the peak always exists, then you are guaranteeing that when you are out of this loop, the last element that you are left with will be the peak, because peak always exists. So you don't need a sanity check here, right? So you can simply return low or high, one of them, if you are interested in the index. If they are interested in the number, you can return array of low or array of high. Making sense? So this is like one of the problems. If you see, this is, let's take a step back to see the characteristics of this problem. This was an explicit search problem, because the problem statement itself gave you the search space, saying that, hey, this is the search space, the mountain array is the search space, find me the peak. So find me an item with some properties in a search space. So it's an explicit searching problem that's given in the question. And to approach this, we were just using the same ideas that we discussed, that the peak has to be the last step for the first T, which means roughly around the peak, you need the sign of the polarity of the predicate to change. F's before and T's after. So if you want F's before and T's after, you need a way to distinguish the first half from the second half. You can do easily, because you can see that the second half is decreasing, the first half is increasing. So if you use a property of a decreasing function, it will be false for the first half. So we use that property, which is the ith element is greater than the I plus first element. So if you use that property, you can see that it will turn out to be false for the left part. What will it be for the peak? That is easy to see. It will be true for the peak. So you are interested in the first t in this predicate. And then we just wrote down the code for this, keeping in mind three things: the choice of mid, the decision, and the sanity check. We said that you don't need a sanity check here because the question explicitly told you that the peak always exists. So you were good.